Welcome back to the show, family. My name is John Trone. This is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. And today, family, I'm feeling the conversation around criticism.
Okay.
And also being able to navigate people who have strong opinions about who you are in your relationship, in your marriage, in your love, and the overly opinionated.
Okay.
Because everybody kind of likes to project how they feel or what they think a person should do or whatever the case may be inside of their relationship.
Right.
And we've gotten a lot of that in our marriage.
Yeah.
And especially like in the content that we share. And I think that sharing how we've navigated through that might really be beneficial to some people.
Yeah, I agree.
And not even just like dealing with people in the world, but also when it comes to dealing with in-laws, when it comes to dealing with friends, when it comes to dealing with all of the other people that are outside of your relationship that like to either project or say what you should do or should be or whatever the case.
Right.
And I know that can be a very difficult thing for some people to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've actually lived through that, I think the way that we've done it might actually be able to help a lot of people in that space.
Okay.
So what even made me think about this is, we're always sharing our thoughts and our beliefs behind the way that we've overcome certain things, how we've grown through our relationships so much.
Right.
And we always get feedback. Not even feedback. It's not even feedback.
It's not feedback.
We always get criticisms about what we should do or what we should say or how we should portray something or whatever the case. We get so much of that.
Yes.
And fortunately enough for us, we've gotten to a space to where we're really able to like silence a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people who've been negatively impacted by the very same things, but haven't quite been able to handle it with such grace, if you will, or be able to navigate those situations as effectively as we've been able to.
Yeah.
So, kicking it your way, baby. I remember back when we first started this show, we got a lot of heat.
Oh, boy.
Very quickly.
Did we?
Like by false perceptions of what people thought we were talking about, people taking our words out of context.
Yes.
So many different things. Like people were literally like mind blown of the fact that we were putting our marriage and the things that we've lived through out there.
Right.
And we didn't realize the extent of which people will manipulate your words and how they will create stories and all of this stuff behind you saying something and literally creating their own idea, reality, or whatever the case may be, without even having the conscious awareness, because, I'm always on that one, the conscious awareness to just ask questions without assuming. And having lived through that, how did you get to this point now to where you're able to experience stuff like that, because we still do, and navigate it the way that you do at this point and it not overpower you?
Okay, so when we first started recording, the whole negative comments and criticism, it really took a toll on me. It was really hard for me. And I would say it was hard for me not because of what they were saying, but it was how I already felt about myself. Like I was already feeling a certain type of way about myself for doing this show, not feeling like I should be doing this, not feeling like what I had to say was valuable enough. So it's like I was already having like certain internal conflicts within myself. And then you backdoor that with negative comments.
Right.
And now I'm like, ooh, I don't think I should be doing this. This ain't it. I can't handle this. No. And we literally took like a 8-month hiatus because I was like, I can't do this. If this is how this is going to be, I can't handle this. But you know what I can do? I can work on myself. So in that, however long hiatus it was, I don't even know how long it was. I was like, you know what? I need to work on me and fix me. That way I'm able to handle the negative comments and criticisms.
Yeah.
Because what we want to do and what we desire to do is important, and people need this shit. Whether they like it or not, they need it. So I feel like I feel like I needed to work on how I felt about myself first. And then now I feel more confident about doing all this stuff. The negative comments don't bother me anymore. I'm like, you know what? People come on there and they push their own negative experiences, their own projections of themselves onto you. And I am self-aware enough to know that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what you're saying has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with what you experience. And I'm not going to take that on. So, yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the comment, I guess. I don't know.
You know what? That
I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Like when we first got married, we were going through that same process, you know, of people saying, hey, you shouldn't be married. Y'all shouldn't be together. Why get married so young? All of this stuff, right? And the context that so many were missing was the fact that we had really invested a lot in each other long before we got married.
Right.
And we were very intentional about how we were growing together at that time. So when we did get married, we had full confidence in our ability to figure it out.
Absolutely.
And that be the context that a lot of people, I think, be missing sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're more invested in something and you've seen the fruits of that, it gives you that much more confidence in the outcome and knowing that it's going to be something or become something great based off of your effort or the shared effort between two people. Yeah. And so, like, when we started recording, that was new territory for us. And we had not experienced criticism and all of backlash and all of that stuff before. So it was brand new to us.
Yeah.
Even though we were firm and solid and strong in our marriage, we had never been attacked like that.
Yes.
And granted, it was a whole lot of love. A lot of love. Way more positive than negative. But unfortunately, the humanness in us, it makes the one negative thing so loud that it can be difficult to overcome. And our initial reaction was to swing back. Yeah. Like that's where we were at the time.
It was more than one negative thing, but
yeah, but still. Yeah. Our initial reaction, was to swing back because we just didn't understand. But we ended up getting to a point to where we had to realize that people project and people would like to put you into this box or this place to where they think that just because they've experienced something or they feel something that same thing is going to happen to you. And they think that they're helping. And a lot of the times they're not. And a lot of people aren't as aware of the effort that you put into something. They're not aware of how you're showing up and being intentional or whatever the case may be. And they think that their shortcomings before and maybe their failed efforts are going to equate to yours and how you do something. And that's not the case. Yeah. And again, the humanism people makes people push stuff off on other people, and it can be a lot to carry.
Yeah, I think for us, before we got married, like you said, we had so much invested in each other. And even with people saying no, that y'all shouldn't get married, whatever they had to say, no one knew what was going on in our relationship with us. Even if people were coming, even if we went to other people for advice and stuff like that, no one knew our relationship better than us, period. Because we're the ones in it. We can see both sides. We're under the same household. So when you go to somebody else asking for advice, like they're only hearing one side of the story. And a lot of the times they only want to help the side that's coming for advice. You know what I'm saying? So it's rare that people actually go and get help from people who actually put the whole relationship as the how am I trying to say this? They don't look at it as like helping the relationship. They look at it as helping the person. And anytime, even before we got together, a lot of the people who were like, we really went to, they were for the relationship.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about picking sides. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't about like picking sides. So eventually we realized who we could go to and who we couldn't go to.
That's big fact.
Because we was like, okay, well, anytime I come to you, you trying to pin me against him when that's not what I need right now. I need advice on how can we make this work? Yeah. Not how to run away from this or not how to be done with it. No, that's not what I'm coming here for. So going to people who are for the relationship, instead of pinning you against each other. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And knowing those people's intentions.
Yeah.
And that's a learned skill.
Yeah.
That is a learned skill, especially when you love people.
Yeah.
And they're your friends or whatever the case may be, and you trust them in certain categories of your life.
Right.
And you haven't gotten to that space to where you can segment where they're good at and where they're qualified to give you advice. Because even though somebody might love you, care for you, all of this stuff, they still may not be qualified to give you advice on everything. And sometimes they want to show up to try to help you, and it may not be the most helpful. Because all they're thinking about is how you feel. And sometimes they'll say anything to cater to how you feel and wanting to make you feel better. And that may not actually be a good thing.
Yes.
And to your point, man, that was so real for us. When we weren't even dating, actually.
No.
Earlier in our relationship, when we were friends. Yeah, when we were friends.
Yeah, be specific.
Yeah, when we were friends.
Yes.
Best friends at that.
Yeah.
But we were best friends, and I was already falling for you.
Yeah.
Real bad. And there were so many different times, where we got into it for probably the dumbest little stuff. I'm so grateful that I had homeboys at the time who showed up for you and for us. And I say that because a lot of the times you can go to a friend or you can go to somebody who you attempt to confide in, and they try to segregate. No, that's not the right word. They try to, I don't know the right word for it, but what they do is they basically try to protect you more so than they try to protect the relationship.
Yeah.
Like you said before, right? But in those time periods, I would go to my boys and they would actually advocate for you and for us together. And they would be like, Trone, you're getting in your own way. Granted, that wasn't their words at the time. Of course. But I'm so glad that I had people who saw that what we had was actually valuable, that advocated for us, and that actually wanted to stand in the gap to see that we saw this relationship through, and that I had some wrong ways of thinking and reacting and things like that. And they were able to see through that. Yeah. They was like, hey, dog, take this shot. You're going to be all right. Y'all can be good. Shot. Hey, listen, we was what, 19, 20?
This not, hey, what?
That's what it was.
Taking shots under 21? Is that what you want to say on the camera?
Listen, I'm big grown now. What they gonna do? Well, I'm big grown now.
Advocating for underage drinking.
No, that was the conditions of the military at that time.
Hey,
we are not saying anybody else should do that.
We are not advocating for underage drinking. Okay.
My point here is,
Jesus Christ,
man. Listen. I ain't. My humanness is showing.
Your humanness
when
is
we
showing.
were early in the military, that's just kind of what the conditions were. But my point was, I'm glad that I had friends that stood in the gap and that advocated for us together and that didn't take sides. Yeah. And they saw the value that you gave to me and the value that we had among each other. And they lifted that up rather than just saying, like, nah, Trone, forget her or some other crap like that. Because I've seen that. I've seen that in a lot of other areas. And so even when I felt like you were doing something or something was going on, it was like, man, listen, I don't know the full story, but I know y'all care about each other. I know y'all good for each other, and y'all can figure that out. Yeah. But you ain't finna come over here bashing, sis. You know what I'm saying?
I love
these is my boys.
And I love them to death. And I would love them forever. I know exactly who they are, and I will love them forever.
Yeah, like that's one of the dopest things ever. And I'm positive that played a huge role in us being where we are today. Yeah. Because God knows I probably would have fumbled. The possibility would have been
real hard. Baby.
Yeah, it would have been way more likely.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have some dope people around us. Originally we kind of didn't. We fell into a group to where we had dope people around us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we had that, people who were advocating for us the whole time, even in our friendships. They're like, okay, we see something here, but y'all go ahead and do y'all little thing. You know what I'm saying?
And people who actually knew us.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for that, because they definitely looked out for us on things we needed to work on individually that would help us together. So
And I think all of that, like compounding over time, gave us so much more confidence in what we have today. So when we are dealing with, criticism and all of that other stuff, we're like, bro, you don't know the weight of what we've been through together.
Listen.
Like, you can't sit over here and tell me nothing about how to be a husband to my wife. Like, you can't tell me nothing about that. Like, I know my wife.
Right.
Like, even when I'm being maybe not my best self, or I start to get into my head about certain things, I still know how to show up for my wife.
Yes.
And I know when I'm being my own worst enemy, and I'm okay with calling myself on that and correcting whatever personal flaws that I have, so that way I can get rid of that, handle that stuff, and still be the husband that you need when I'm able.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because there are those moments, where you really have to get yourself together.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, nobody can tell us how to do us.
Yeah.
And I think that a large part of that is just because of what we've been through over the years. Yeah. And we've built such a strong foundation that anything outside of us, like, it just doesn't hold any weight. And some people who are more impacted by naysayers and outside influences and things like that, it might just be the fact that you haven't gotten to that point to where your foundation is strong enough to not be so easily shaken. Or maybe it's exposing the fact that there's things that you haven't addressed yet. And you might need to spend more time solidifying to strengthen that foundation in your relationship to get to a point to where nothing can shake it. And you're confident.
With each other.
With each other.
Yeah.
And having that confidence in what you two have. And it not being one-sided.
Exactly.
Because if you're overly confident and this person ain't confident at all in y'all relationship, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point to where you're both solid on it, ain't too much that can shake that.
That's true. I think this is so good because, like, even when we first started doing the show, me putting our marriage out there was never an issue. Like, I had no issue about us exposing ourselves and showing, what we've grown from and things like that, things we've learned. That wasn't it. The things that I had a problem with was an individual issue, a belief in myself. And that's how I know, like, our marriage is so strong, because I have no problem declaring my love for my husband. I have no problem declaring that my marriage is the most important thing to me. Like, I have no problem doing that. When I say I refuse to lose at this, I meant that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem doing that. And I think that's so dope about us, is we have no problem saying it out loud. And you can come in the comments and say whatever you want to. I still said what I said, how I said it. Period.
Hey, babe, pop up, man.
Nah, I be chill. Lately, I be chill in the comments. I'm like, you know what? You got it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's real though. Like, a lot of people don't understand that we've never had issues with us for real. Like, since we've been married, our issues have never been between us. They've been more so of us handling individual issues together.
Yes.
That's what we've overcame. How I might be feeling about myself, but I share it with my wife, and she helps me get through those moments when I need it.
Yeah.
You're feeling a certain particular type of way about yourself, and I show up for you to be able to help you there the way that you need it.
Yes.
And that's what our battles have been, more so to say.
Yeah.
But between each other, we always been solid.
Yeah, we've never been against each other.
Always been solid there.
Yeah.
And we've done the work to get to that point.
Right.
And that's what makes it so, like, that's what makes our relationship so powerful. And it's not the fact that, others can't have this, or that they're not as intentional, or you can't do any of that stuff. It's the fact that when you show up, what's she doing?
She's snoring.
Lord. That's how I put it for you. But anyway, when you show up intentionally every single day in your marriage on purpose, giving your full effort, that gives you another level of confidence when you know that you're giving your everything to that person and they're giving you the same back.
Yes.
Day after day.
Yes.
You can't do that for an extended period, like an extended amount of time, and not develop confidence.
Right.
And not be solid in what you have. And that's really it.
Yeah.
Like, that is really it. You want to be able to overcome the criticism and all that other crap.
Mm-hmm.
Get to a point to where you're so strong and so confident in what you've built that nothing can shake it.
That part.
Because it's coming anyway.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing you can do to stop it.
Right.
The only thing you can change is how you feel about it.
That's literally what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not stopping.
Yeah, especially with, us creating content, the negative comment's going to keep coming, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. But you know what? I can choose how I feel about it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I can choose how confident I am in what we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I can do. Yeah. Everything else, okay.
Yeah. So
thanks for viewing.
Right. Listen, if you got, family, friends, other influences, and they're trying to speak down or be naysayers or whatever it is, if they're saying certain things and there's a pattern of what they're saying, just be aware of it, because there might be something there that you might need to address, potentially. But after you've done the work and you can see the fruits of that work on both sides and both partners, and you've built that thing up to make it so strong, then when you get to that point, you'll be like, all right, you know what? None of this bothers me anymore, because I know that there's no substance over here in what you're trying to speak against.
And then what you're not about to do is come to me and tell me about my marriage as though you know it better than me.
Right. Like you're the one in it.
Because that's what you're not going to do.
Trying to tell you.
Yeah. Period. No.
But that's it, man. You can't stop people from doing stuff like that. As much as we would like to believe that we can, you can't.
Right.
You can't. But what you can do is build something so strong to where nothing can shake it. And if you do that, man, you can't lose.
That's it.
Straight like that.
Straight like that.
Hey, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, please do like, comment, and subscribe, man. Let us know, how you rocking with the show, man, what you feeling about it. We want to hear all of that. And until next time, my name is John Trone. This is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. Until next time, family. Peace and love.